What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/AmITheA butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, sure, why not? Timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it massively helps out our channel, and I cannot express that enough. And can I just take a wee moment here to just say thank you for the love and support you've shown me over the past week or so. It's been constant, non-stop, and I absolutely love you to bits for it. I cannot express how much it means to me when I see a whole bunch of wholesome humans show love to another human like this, and you do it on the daily with each other as well in the comments. I see it, and I'm just so thankful. So thank you so much for doing you. And yesterday we did have a new member and a rejoin from Jake Taylor, and we also had Cryogenic Fire join us. Thank you so much for your love, support, and time. Let's crack on with today's stories. Spicy, so excited. Much love, guys. And our first story comes from IBU Saint. Am I the arsehole for being disgusting in front of my fiance's family to prove a point? Disclaimer, discussions of poop. So I'm a semi-vegan, have lactose intolerance, gluten sensitivity, not to be confused with celiac, and IBS. I get teased a lot for my dietary choices, mostly because people think I'm a preachy Peter ass, but in reality, I'm fighting a constant battle to not shit my pants. I also get people thinking I have an eating disorder because I'm relatively petite and can't eat 99% of food and spend a lot of time in the bathroom. I do eat occasional fish or baked chicken, but 99% of my diet is plant-based. Red meat is a no-go, no dairy, and I don't eat grains, which sucks because I love bread so fucking much. Over the weekend, my fiancé and I went to his parents' house. They wanted to give us an engagement dinner. We've been engaged for 3 months now, but we live a ways away. At the dinner was mom, stepdad, younger brother, and grandma. They know my food aversions. They know I just eat rabbit food. I've been with my fiancé for 4 years now, but at the dinner they serve very well-seasoned chicken and sausage jambalaya with cornbread and smothered potatoes. I've lived my entire life in southern US, surrounded by delicious food I cannot digest. I was really hurt. It felt like I was ignored. My fiancé asked if there was anything I could eat, since it was almost completely against my dietary restrictions. Their response was I should just live a little, and I needed some meat in my bones anyway. After all, we were celebrating. I should enjoy myself. When I excused myself, my fiancé asked if I wanted to leave. I said no, I'm used to it. I didn't want to come off as stuck up. So I ate the food. No lot, but enough to be polite. And listen, it was fucking good, I'll admit it. But less than half an hour later, I felt the rumbles. You know the ones, where a deluge is imminent. We were all chatting in the living room. The night was winding down, but I knew I wouldn't make it all the way back home. I excused myself to the restroom, but at the last second I decided rather than go to the guest bathroom on the other side of the house, I'd go to the half bath next to the living room. So I went. In all my loud, stinky glory, I went. It lasted maybe 5 minutes, but the damage was immeasurable. The bathroom stunk, and when I came out, it was obvious everyone heard. It was awkward. I said, sorry, sensitive stomach, you know. And we left shortly after. My fiancé was embarrassed, and we fought on the car ride home. He said I did it on purpose, and it was disgusting, and I shouldn't have been so petty. We could have just left. Why would I act so immature, etc.? I wasn't sorry. I said his family knew about my problems, but ignored me. I couldn't help it. Was I being an arse? Now, I'm personally going to come straight in with and not the arsehole in this one, but I can see this one potentially going both ways. Simply as, you know, some people may look at it as fiancé said, look, we can leave if you want to, and you could have just refused to eat the food. But at the same time, I think if I was in that situation, and you know, you're being pressured to eat food by fiancé's family, and they're all telling you to live a little and play it down and all that sort of stuff. It can be incredibly hard sometimes to stand up in front of, you know, your fiancé's family or something like that. I can imagine how hard that will be. And this is the path that I'm going down at the moment. And I don't think the family was, you know, being serious about OP's food requirements. Clearly they wasn't, but by the words that was saying, like live a little and stuff like that, just totally playing it down. And I have a friend who has Crohn's, and I watched them for years and years struggle with food and, you know, have these troubles. And I saw their social media posts talking about the issues that they encountered, and it was incredibly heartbreaking. And it's not just, you know, a physical illness, it's a mental one too, because it can really affect your mental state when you're constantly having to think about what food you can eat, and if you do eat it, what's going to happen next. And then you're worried about having to go to the toilet afterwards and cause a scene because of it, because you're basically trying not to shit yourself. And I may get hate for that opinion, but at the same time, I sort of don't really care on this one, because I've seen a similar disease with these effects and how it affects someone. And for someone to play it down, I don't think it's right, and I can't excuse it. Yes, it was petty, and if she did it on purpose, it was pretty grim, but at the same time, it is what it is, in my opinion. But let's check out some of the comments to see what they say. So we have the shadow people saying, not the arsehole, they should have made some food you could eat too. What they did was flat out rude. Maybe now they'll respect your dietary needs. And Weird Bird Nerd said, I disagree. Fiancé would have left and stood up for OP in the appropriate manner. Being clear that it's not OP choosing not to live, but rather than she can't eat these foods. Instead, she decided to turn her fiancé down and be incredibly passive-aggressive. Are her future in-laws ignorant? Yeah. Is being passive-aggressive, and yes, gross, the way to remedy that? Absolutely not. Next time, OP, when your fiancé offers to leave, take him up on it. And again, as I kind of look at it, it's like, it's your leaving that almost looked passive-aggressive in itself as well. I don't know. AITA, since a lot of people keep saying something to the effect of, and shit her pants, or being forced to eat food for years until she snapped, read the paragraph where her fiancé took the lead. Asked his parents where the food for OP was, and upon hearing there was none, asked OP if she wanted to leave again. She would not be forced to eat food, and she would not be shitting her pants in the car or otherwise if she simply leaves, which her fiancé offered to do. Her fiancé was willing to set a clear boundary and enforce it. Sure, if he wasn't willing to do that, OP would have been in the right, and the comments about leaving the fiancé might be valid, but that's not the case here. What OP did was not the right choice given the other options available to her. She willingly and knowingly ate food she did not need to. I think I should also add, I have the exact same issues. I know OP's pain. However, she made the choice to eat the food after she had the choice to leave. She did not eat the food and then fiancé offered to leave, so this whole thing about shitting in the car is completely invalid. And Busted White Brit said, not the arsehole, and your fiancé needs to evaluate his priorities. He should be embarrassed by his parents being such assholes, not of you. He's the biggest arsehole here in my opinion. And 1114 each says, would he rather have you shite yourself in front of his family instead? Not the arsehole. And Lavish Economy says, everyone sucks here. They suck for obvious reasons. You suck for not leaving and instead just embarrassing your fiancé. You had the option to go, your fiancé was fine with it. You chose to make the situation worse instead. You accidentally wanted to prove a point. It wasn't an accident. I feel bad for him. And Astro Canyon Note says, this is where I'm leaning. I'm surprised everyone is not the arsehole. I feel like people are missing the fact that fiancé did stand up for AP and offered to leave. I get why OT went the passive-aggressive approach, I'd be annoyed too, but the fiancé tried to step up and be a team with them, but instead was embarrassed. Granted, the future in-laws are way bigger assholes and maybe won't be tempted to pull this in the future. But I feel like this was a cut off your nose to spite your face kind of thing. Everyone sucks here. And one more from Monday Night Football saying, not the arsehole, you communicated why and what your food requirements are. They choose not to take you seriously. They choose not to make any food available for you, which is incredibly rude and a big red flag. You have very valid reasons to eat the way you do. But even if it wasn't a literal physical issue with real-time consequences to you and their bathroom, you would still be not the arsehole. The bigger issue is that this family you're marrying into, and already they've shown you they don't respect you and won't make safe food available for you. Added to that is boyfriend's embarrassment and is blaming you for literally taking his shit, a thing every human does and cannot control. His response and his parents' carelessness is a big red flag behavior. Get the fuck out, OP. You deserve better. And now I turn this one to you as what do you guys think of this situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And our next story comes from Detribulized. Am I the arsehole for not letting my daughter sleep in the same bed as my mum and being a helicopter mum? My mum had borderline personality disorder and is always starting drama and triangulating people against each other. I distance myself from her a lot. She visits every few months and sometimes chooses to stay the night. For the past year or so, my oldest daughter stopped liking my mother. She doesn't want to hang out with her when she visits. My other daughter loves her though and wants to hang out with her the whole time she's here. My mum has a gossiping problem and is starting to nitpick my oldest daughter's behaviors and talk about it with her sister. I'm not okay with this and I told her that. Tonight my mum was insisting that my middle daughter sleep in the guest room with her and have a sleepover. I said no, because I didn't want them gossiping all night about my oldest. My oldest was already in a bad mood because my mum was being bossy and having an attitude towards her for the past few hours. She was feeling self-conscious and worried about them shit-talking her. Because at some point in the evening, she overheard my mum and her sister talking about how she was being rude and disrespectful. My oldest was sticking up for my 5-year-old when my mum was leaving her out of a painting activity they were doing, and my mum didn't like that. Anyway, I made my mum sleep alone because I don't trust her not to gossip about everyone all night and be a bad influence on my daughter while they were alone without anyone around. My mum got super mad and my daughter started crying about it. I feel like an arsehole now, but I also don't trust my mum not to triangulate my daughter against her sister and against me. She talks bad about me a ton too, and my oldest daughter always calls her out for it, which she hates. I really don't know what to think. I can't tell if I'm being gaslit or if I'm doing the right thing. Am I the arsehole for not letting him hang out unsupervised? And then there's a comment. It contains a reply from OP to another post. And it's from comment saying, from another comment reply of yours, and quotes, "This woman beat the shit out of me on Christmas in front of my daughter 1 year. I had a restraining order against her for years because of that. I honestly would prefer not to even have her around, but family pressures me a lot, so I gave in after a few years." And then says, that changes everything. Banish her from your house immediately. Banish anyone else who disagrees with that choice. If your husband isn't supporting you in this, then I don't know what to say except you're in a very, very shitty situation and you need to do whatever you can to make a nice, stable home for your children. I hate to say this, but you're the arsehole. So what if your family pressures you? Tell them to go to hell and not show more concern for you and your kids. It seems you need a whole new attitude when it comes to organizing your family priorities. Develop that new attitude and sort some things out. And Chew My Fudge says, not the arsehole for protecting your daughters. You're the arsehole for not taking steps to prevent all this from happening. You knew what your mother is like. This doesn't happen without you leaving your kids unsupervised for that woman. Clearly you did. Now you got one daughter that will probably need to see a therapist at some point if this keeps up, and another that will take after the grandmother because kids are very susceptible at mirroring others. That grows into a habit. Even if you pry your mum away from them later, the younger will continue doing what grandma was doing to the oldest. Lady, why are you not supervising her visits? Why allow such a toxic woman impact your kids' well-being? And Chirplet says, and not the arsehole, by limiting your child's contact with a toxic influence. However, I think perhaps in the future, you should consider having your mother stay outside the house when she visits. This seems like an easier way to limit all the drama you have had during her visits and to give you and your family the personal and mental health space you need during her visits. And Reddifer says, sorry to say this, but at this point you're the arsehole. You need to protect your children. You say that your daughter witnessed her beat you up at Christmas. That must have been incredibly traumatic for her, and you still just invite this woman to stay in your home. You've accused your husband of being spineless, but you're just as capable of refusing to let her into your house as he is. You know what she's like. You know if you invite her in for the day, she'll stay over, so don't invite her for the day. If you want to keep some semblance of relationship with her, don't have her anywhere you can't supervise every conversation with your children. Don't allow her to stay over. Preferably, don't allow her into your house for the sake of your eldest daughter. Put boundaries in place and actually stick to them for your children. And one more for Shay One saying, you're the arsehole for continuing to let your mother and her toxic ways around you and your daughters. Why would you even let her close to try and turn them against each other? Cut her out. Apologize to your oldest daughter for letting her BS go on as long as it has, and not protecting her sooner. Then explain to your middle daughter why she will not be seeing grandma anymore and why her behavior isn't okay. Then apologize to her for letting it go on this long. Where is your mama bear? She is toxic and bringing it into you and your children's lives because you were letting her. Stop her now. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation and what should OP be doing to counter it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And our next story comes from Reg. Am I the arsehole for choosing my dog over my mum and her fiancé? My dad died in a work accident when I was 15 and I'm now 17 male. Last year my mum started going out with Anthony and they just got engaged. Anthony wanted to move in, but the problem is he's severely allergic to dogs. My mum told me we had to get rid of Dax, my dog. Like, not even as a question, just straight up said, that's what we're gonna do. I fought with my mum over this because he is my family and he's what helped me get through losing my dad. Dax was my dad's dog that he rescued from a shelter when he was still a puppy, and we had him since I was 11. So he means a lot to me. But my mum was like, nope, he has to go. We fought so much about it, I actually cried. Nobody wanted to adopt Daxo, and I had to beg my grandpa from my dad's side to take him, or else my mum was going to take him to a shelter. The problem was my grandpa lives an hour away and he can't do much physical stuff like take him out for a walk, feed him, take him to a vet, etc., and no one around to help him take care of a dog. My grandpa suggested I could move here with him since all of my classes are on Zoom and I'm graduating in June anyways. I told my mum I want to move in with grandpa so I can be with Dax. She got really mad about that and it says they, her and Anthony, are my family and I need to be with them. But I told her, one, Alfred isn't my family. I have my own problems with him because he's kept talking about being my new dad and I don't like that shit. But he doesn't listen when I tell him to stop saying he's my new dad because he's not. And two, Dax is my family and she made me get rid of him just like that. My grandpa's my family too anyways. Last week I got my stuff and my uncle helped me move to my grandpa's house. My mom's still been mad. She's not going to force me to come back, but she's saying I'm being a really shitty son, that I'm choosing to be with my dog instead of with them. But it hurt too much being without him. He was taken to my grandpa's a week before I left, and all that time I was up crying missing him. And I know he missed me too because he lost it when I got there. My mom keeps telling me to come back and stop being cruel with her, but I'm happy here with my dog. I get she got someone new to be happy with, and that's cool, it's her life, but why can't I be happy too, with my dog living with me? Does it make me an asshole that I basically choose Dax over her? Now let's straight away address that last line, because does it make me an asshole that I basically chose Dax over her? That wasn't the way it happened. She chose her fiancé over you in this, just expecting you to get rid of your pet just like that. Just a decision like that, like you said, not even a question, is just incredibly shitty behavior. And this man is a stranger to you. It sounds like you don't really know him very much, and he's claiming to take over the fatherly role straight away, which you don't want. Yeah, I think you're just best off doing what you did anyway. Even if the dog wasn't in the situation, you'd be better off at your grandpa's by the sounds of it. So absolutely not the arsehole, and I wouldn't worry about this at all. If you're happy, this is down to her. She's the shitty one in the situation, and the potential stepdad as well. But let's check out some of the comments to see what they say. And the chosen one says that you are absolutely not a shitty son. What your mum is doing is horrible. She's trying to force a new family on you without your consent. Stay with your grandpa and keep the dog. Hope things look up for you in the future. I can tell Dax is a good boy, not the arsehole. And wondering which cat says not the arsehole, you made the right decision. You're in a supportive environment with your best friend, and that's all that matters. This is a good time to set boundaries with your mum and a future spouse. Be clear that you are moving forward and have no intentions of returning. Editing, reread your post. Your dad died in a work accident. The insurance from this, who has it? There should be a survivor benefits in your name. You need to check in on this and make sure your mother and her spouse don't take something that is meant for you. You are underage, but this benefit should revert to 18 to you. However, let's change those funds, keep going into your mother's account. And Angry says, I see so many stories here about how parents expect their kids to automatically accept their new partners when they remarry. It blows my mind I think this would just happen. Not the arsehole. And Singing Stream says, you didn't choose your dog over her. She chose her husband over you and your furry friend. Furry friend was kicked out of the house and you followed him. Not the arsehole, your stepdad and mum are majorly out of line. And to be honest, I'm pretty concerned here that your stepdad is going to turn out to be abusive. And Cranky Kitty says, not the arsehole. Expecting you to give up your father's dog for a man who's literally a stranger to you is unbelievably cruel. Expecting you to accept the total stranger as your new father is equally unfeeding. I'm glad you have a grandfather and uncle who could save your dog for you. And one more from Ryan saying, I'm going to put it like this. In no way should a true mother ever force you into such a terrible ultimatum. It's already sketchy that she has become engaged just 2 years after losing your father, but to a man that insists on being your new dad, despite your many protests. On top of that, she's trying to eliminate a member from your family out of nowhere. And not only is Dax just your dog, but the biggest semblance of a type of man your father was. She isn't even being an asshole, but an objectively terrible person, and even worse mother. You are most definitely in the right, and I hope you're able to restore a bond with her, as she is your only remaining parent. However, it shouldn't be at this cost. You are most definitely not the asshole. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation, and how would you deal with it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And our next story is from Prestigious Second. Mighty arsehole for not helping the lady at the doctor's office where she was having a hard time with her kids. Because of some arbitrary rule I don't understand, I have to go see my therapist every month to have my antidepressants refilled. Don't know why my doctor requires me to do that. My last doctor was allowed to write a 3-month script, and I could call him if I needed help with anything. This doctor makes me come in for a whole damn therapy appointment, something I can't afford, but I have to have my meds. I'm searching for a new doc. Anyway, rant over. Sorry. I was at the doctor's waiting for my appointment. There was a woman in the waiting room, the only other person. She was probably the doctor's partner's patient. I don't know, don't care. She had 2 kids with her. One looked like it was 5 or 6. The other was small and still in a stroller, so 2 or 3, I guess. The bigger kid was playing on an iPad, and I guess the battery died or his game stopped working. Something happened and the kid started throwing a fit, screaming and flinging his arms around. I was using my own device with headphones, but I had to turn them down so I could hear when the receptionist called my name for me to go back, and I could hear the whole tantrum. Couple of minutes into the kid throwing a fit, the little one started throwing one too. Not sure why. I guess the older screaming made it angry. I don't know kids. I don't know why they do things. Don't like them. Don't want them. Never held a baby. Never want to. I tried to ignore them, but they were loud as fuck. I could hear the older screaming, she has an iPad, she has an iPad, over and over again, pointing at me. The mum gets my attention and asks me if the kid can watch what I'm watching, or maybe you can play a game, and she can give me like $1 for every 5 minutes or something. I declined. Number 1, I don't let anyone touch my devices, and number 2, I don't believe in rewarding bad behavior. The kid was screaming and acting like a fool. You don't give a kid a cookie when he throws his dinner out the wall. He'd just keep doing it. The mum starts begging me, saying that she can't calm the little one down if the old one is screaming, and could I just help her out? I declined again because the whole kid thing, I just can't with kids. They set me off. Frankly, kids give me anxiety. They always seem sticky and dirty and loud. The mum called me some choice names and ended up taking the kids outside. I got called back to the appointment like 5 minutes later and didn't see them when I got back out. The receptionist told me the lady had to leave because she couldn't get them to calm down. And the way she told me this kind of made me feel like she was trying to make me feel bad about it. It isn't my job to babysit someone's kids in public. You should plan for this stuff when you take kids places, in my opinion. I paid my bill and went home. Was I an arsehole because I wouldn't hang out with this kid? Man, I'm getting those entitled parents vibes back with it. When they're sat on a bus, there's stories where they used to be sat on a bus and then so it says, let my kid use your mobile phone. Absolutely not. And the ones that I always look at in this situation, I even look at it with my own relatives sometimes, you know, like if I handed them over, let's just say, I don't know, a tablet of some sort, for example, and I hand them over the tablet, they're playing with it, and then that kid, you know, drops on the floor and it cracks the screen. Are they going to pay it back? I doubt it very much. And that's the way I look at things. It's harsh sometimes. Obviously, I let my nieces and nephews play with my stuff because I'm not a bastard, but, you know, I wouldn't let any random bulb just take my stuff and play with it, you know? But Bumblinger says, hello, stranger. Can my child use your expensive technology? Not the arsehole. And the greatest meows, not the arsehole, she's totally entitled to assume that you hand over an expensive iPad, or any device for that matter, over to a screaming kid. On top of that, if it was accidentally dropped or a juice spilled and it was ruined, I seriously doubt she'd be paying to repair/replace it. She'd probably cite some lame excuse of kids being kids, or you should have watched it or known better. On top of all that, we are in a worldwide pandemic. She doesn't know you, where you've been, who you've associated with, just as you know nothing about them. Would be pretty sucky to end up being sick because I'm Booger Kid and his entitled mum demanded use of your device. And Heather Ann says, not the arsehole, I feel bad for the lady, but yeah, you can't expect to just trust a random out-of-control screaming kid with your iPad. While your inner dialogue through the ordeal was not the kindest, a little empathy will serve you well in life. I do agree that you don't give in to a screaming kid. That just empowers the kid to do it more, do it louder, and get what they want. Clearly, this mum had not set a lot of boundaries for the kid to escalate the situation so bad. So while he's not the asshole entirely, she sure had made some lazy parenting choices to put her in the situation. Her first instinct should not have been to ask a stranger to use an iPad. Her first instinct to have the kid occupy themselves, and if the tantrum had started, apply appropriate redirection and discipline. And Teddy TMI says not the arsehole. Hopefully she's at a therapist for parenting skills or to get the older brat some counseling. Have a talk with your doctor about the appointments. Explain that monthly appointments are a drain on your time and your insurance company's resources, and that you have to change providers if you can't get at least one refill. Once every 60 days is plenty for medication management. And now I turn this one to you guys. What would you do if you found yourself in a similar situation? Would you hand over your device to this child or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And once again, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, for being involved in the channel and just getting involved. It means the absolute world to me. And if you want to support the channel further, you absolutely can by clicking that join button down below for YouTube or clicking the link in the description for Patreon and joining up there. It means the world is super helpful and yes, but never any pressure to do so. Now, thank you for being here, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Love. Oh.